Fugitive Zero sabotages the monocle antenna. Murph likes to put everything in his mouth, and Dal thought he was captain. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we are doing a review of Prodigy's very first episode, well, two-parter, Lost and Found, parts 1 and 2. We are joined by very special guest, Bonnie Gordan. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
I love the fact that you looked surprised when I mentioned your name. You're like, "What am I doing here?"
Oh, I'm here. Oh, oh my goodness. I figured I would just wait my turn in the back until you said my name, and then it just came out of nowhere. So I wasn't prepared.
Hang on a second, Cirroc. Did you see those nails she has?
Oh.
Very no,
nice.
I didn't see them. Very nice.
They're chrome. It's hard to see the chrome part of them, but if I move it in certain light, they turn green and blue. They're purple.
Yeah. I do see the colorful Star Trek stuff in the background. I think there's some kind of logo back there on a pillow or something.
Yep.
You're missing the other half of the room. We won't go into that, but I do have a
That's
lovely
right.
pumpkin with Janeway's head on it.
That's perfect.
Not creepy at all. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah, everybody
Happy
at home
Halloween.
might be able to see it at the top of her background, but yeah, I see it. I see the Janeway.
There she is.
Oh, yeah, that is Janeway. Yeah. Wow.
I hadn't.
Very good carving skill, Bonnie.
Oh yes, I did that myself. I didn't. I can't believe you'll put me on a pumpkin.
Very good.
Is what she would say.
Oh, wow.
Now,
Very good.
Bonnie, now speaking of which, let's just get right into this, okay?
Okay.
Before we really dive into this first episode, you hinted that you are pretty good at doing other people's voices, apparently. And you also mentioned that you did scratch vocals for a couple of the characters, right?
I did. I started out on the team, I guess I could say, doing scratch for Gwen, and then later I got brought back in to do scratch for Janeway. So Janeway's my favorite captain, so I was honored to do her. I knew they were going to get, Kate Milgrew, but it was just nice to pretend. It was nice to be Janeway, whether it be a day or a not day.
More than a day.
A day or a week yeah, exactly.
So for everybody at home that doesn't know what scratch vocals are, can you explain them? Because you've got quite the extensive voiceover background.
Sure. So scratch, when the animation process takes such a long time, I don't think people realize the amount of work and the steps that have to go into creating something that's fully animated. And this show, if you've seen it, is so elaborate. The animation is just incredibly beautiful.
Yes.
So they've been working on this for about 2 years now. It can get expensive to bring big names into studios over and over to re-record lines, to get like some basic vocals down so the animators have something to work with. So they'll sometimes bring in actors to do scratch vocals, or sometimes they don't even have the role cast yet, which was the case of Gwen. While they were trying to find someone cast as Gwen, they brought me in to do her voice. So basically, I was just there to help the animators have something to work with that wasn't just someone reading lines off of a paper, that was actually giving some kind of emotion and some kind of direction of where the show and where the character was going. And had a blast doing it. So it was amazing to be a part of that creative process and to kind of bring some of the characters to life before they got fully developed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cirroc, this is the main question here, and I think, Bonnie, you've already hinted you're a pretty big Star Trek fan before this happened. Is that right?
Just a little bit. Oh man, I was actually a part of the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas. I was one of the actors. Yeah.
Really?
I was one of the actors in the Star Trek experience back in 2007, 2008. Yeah. So that was fun. I was, it was a rotating cast, so I played a lot of the different roles. I remember one of them was named Ensign Thomas. I had to play the ensign type parts because I look young, and you can imagine, 13 years ago I looked even younger. So yeah, I was mostly just a ensign for most of the run.
Wow.
Unless giving me a couple extra pips, people would be like, yeah, right, she can't get up the system that quickly. It's like, that's when you know that there's no one else to promote, when I get the pips. You're like, ooh. But no, it was so much fun, and it was such an amazing experience. I didn't know much about Star Trek before I got that job, and that solidified my love for it, because I had to watch Star Trek for research, because a lot of it was improv, to where I had to make sure that if people started asking me questions, I didn't break the prime directive, because man, and when you talk to Trekkies, they know am I allowed to curse on here?
I was going to wait for you. I was going to wait for you.
They know their poop.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, they know their defecation. Yeah. So when they started asking questions of me and improvising with me, I went, oh dear, I gotta start watching. So I mean, I like devoured Next Gen, jumped in straight into Voyager, DS9, and honestly, my love for Trek has grown. In later years, when I moved to California, I started doing rewatching of all of the series and realized, man, I am a Trekkie. And then it's all downhill from there. Yeah, it's been amazing. And thank you. And I do a lot of Star Trek TTRPG shows as well on Twitch. So for those of you who don't know those letters, it means tabletop role-playing games. So it's basically like Dungeons and Dragons in space with Star Trek.
Wow.
So yeah, so I've gotten to create a few characters for that, and it's like living in the Star Trek universe.
Cirroc, how is your half elf ranger doing, by the way, Cirroc?
My half elf what?
Oh, I got so excited thinking that he actually played.
I'm sorry. I mean your half orc druid.
Your confused stare.
I don't know the right answer to that.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm gonna assume that you don't play D&D, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, I don't play D&D, but I do think that you have a fantastic and lovely voice.
Thank you.
It's so colorful. It's so colorful. It's so rich. Your voice, I think I could just listen to you talk all the day. It's like,
man,
it's combined with your humor.
Throw me some books, audio,
greatness.
Audio books. Let's go. I'll just read you to sleep. 3 Little Pigs. Here we go. I don't know what books you have, but no, I love doing voiceovers. I love it. It's such a weird career path that I kind of fell into by accident, and I'm so grateful for it. And I love doing characters, wacky little kids, old ladies. It's fun because, and you guys get it. When you live in Hollywood, it's really all about, how you look and, different things like that. So if you're not the typical Hollywood look, it's hard to get cast in things. But with voiceover, I can show up in pajamas with a giant knot of bun in my hair. Bun hair? You know what I mean? Just a mess, and they don't care. They don't care what I look like. I won't do that. That's so unprofessional. I do that. I show up in pajamas.
Of course. But why not?
Yeah. It's just like, people in Zoom meetings. Half of them aren't wearing pants. You don't know.
Are you calling me out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ryan, stand up.
You told her, Cirroc. I'm not standing up.
Look, your Borg Q boxers were adorable.
Okay, so you did tell her. Okay, cool. Now you got your start in music, is that right? And then that kind of just transitioned into voiceover?
I did. I got my start in musical theater. And, I'm from Louisiana, but I lived in Florida working for Disney, did shows in Vegas, then moved out
Nice.
here. So music was a big part of my trajectory of getting where I am now. Um, that word was probably not used correctly. Oh man. Should not have chugged a Red Bull before this interview. But yeah, music
One?
has
No, three.
just
You should
one,
not have
just
had
one.
one.
But music's been amazing. And with voiceover, music helps so much with, learning how to breathe correctly and use your voice correctly. A lot
Mm.
of the voiceovers I do are video game type voices where I'm doing a lot of screaming and fighting and, just randomly dying on a Tuesday. So you need to be able to use your voice in a healthy way without ripping your vocal cords. And music, knowing how to utilize like my diaphragm and breathe properly really helps. So I always tell people who are interested in getting into voiceover to take improv acting classes and music classes because
Hmm.
they can really help. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so you being a super huge fan of Janeway and Jake Sisko and Star Trek, was this one of those kind of situations where you just got a call and you auditioned, or you knew this was coming up and you did everything in your power to get into the right room?
I did everything in my power. I pulled every string just to get an audition. When I saw that they were making not one but two animated Star Trek shows,
Mhm.
I think Lower Decks was announced first, and I tweeted at Mike, the creator,
Really?
going, yeah, I was like, in fact, it just popped up in my memories recently, like 2 years ago, you did this, and I'm like, thanks, Facebook, you don't have to remind me, Um, and Dan and Kevin Hageman, I also reached out to them, and they really didn't have any control over the casting process at the time. They were like, okay, crazy lady, in my DMs, what are you doing? And so, I just kind of waited it out, and I pulled every string I could, like with my manager, with my agent. I was like, if you see any breakdowns for this, I don't care, like, because a lot of the breakdowns of the characters were like looking for young to late teens, in they're looking for people who can sound like 16, and I'm 35. So if you look age wise, I don't qualify for any of the roles. So I told them, please just send them to me anyway, and I will find my way in. And I made it all the way through the callbacks for Gwen, and that's how I started working with the creative team doing Scratch for her. So I mean, I
Awesome.
pulled I think I mentioned this in another podcast, but when I showed up for my callback, I had like a Galaxy print dress, a comm badge, a Star Trek messenger bag, like space boots, space print boots. So I kind of went a little overboard. And when I showed up, and they were all just like, oh, we get it. You want this. Okay, calm down. And I'm just like, I was just so
They're like,
excited.
you're not going to be on camera.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I even made the joke, like, I'm wearing my comm badge in case you guys, in case you call me for the
Yeah.
role, I'll be ready. And they were just like, oh, this girl's a little much. I was just so excited. I still am. I mean, honestly, the excitement has not left. You always want to, when they say love the job you do, you always want to work
Yeah.
on projects and things that you love. And the fact that I get to work on Star Trek is, unreal. The fact that I'm canon, especially with such an iconic role, because I'm taking up the
Right.
baton of a legend. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Did they, when you were doing the Scratch work, did they have a part for you ready, or were you just waiting to find out?
I was secretly hoping that they were gonna try and find a role for me. They mentioned that, I was putting a lot of work, into the show with them, and so eager to help and eager to work with the project. And I think they were looking for a role for me throughout the series. And when the audition came up for the ship's computer, I jumped on it. I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So
Now, Bonnie, for everybody at home,
did I spoil it?
no, for everybody at home right now, including myself and Cirroc, we've only seen the first 2-part episode. So we haven't heard what the ship's computer actually sounds like. So when you say I can do this, my first thought is prove it.
In one of the trailers, I believe you do hear my voice saying, disengaging gravity, something like that.
Wow.
So I basically just talk like this. Welcome to the 7th rule. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Cirroc, we recorded that, right?
Yeah, I hope so. That's our intro from now on.
All right.
Yeah, you mentioned replacing somebody who's such an icon, and that person I worked with closely, the late great Major Roddenberry.
She's a legend, especially on DS9. Man, she would come in, and every episode that she was featured in, I got so excited. I'm jealous. You got to work with her. And I never want to fill her shoes. I never will be able to fill her shoes. She is in a place, a mantle all her own. I just hope that I can live up to people's expectations. I know a lot of people are, curious why. Well, they have a lot of her voice on file, I'm sure, with her estate, to why they're not using her voice. At least I think that's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that, with this new show, they wanted a new voice for the computer. Because I even asked them if they wanted me to do an impression of her, and they said no, to just make it your own. So that's what I did. And, it's a lot of people think, oh, you're just a computer. And I'm like, it's more than that. It's with Star Trek, especially, the ship, signifies something so much more than just a ship. And
it's a character.
It is. It becomes a character. And,
absolutely.
It's a character that they live on, that they interact with every day. And, I feel so grateful for the opportunity to continue the legacy of the ship's computer.
It's huge. It really is. Yeah. And in voiceover, there's always the opportunity of doing more than one character. So assuming that there will be a second season, I'm sure you're going to be constantly and consistently digging around and being like, hey, I can do this thing and I can do that, right? I mean, they're going to be new characters popping up, whether they're villains or whether they're,
Ooh, I love a good villain. Ooh, villains are fun.
Pretty good.
I like,
Yes.
If you need a ship hum, I can do the humming. I'm very good at humming different kinds of ship engine noise. Yeah, just let me know.
Cirroc, prove it.
Hey, yes.
That's the refrigerator at the mess hall.
This guy would know.
Oh my gosh, that's good. That's good. That's
no body, but
replicator number 7.
Right, lower deck number 7. But no, Bonnie, you do have a really positive, warm personality, and I think that is what. Because Majel was such a warm and like lighthearted, very like comical person. She loves making jokes. She loved laughing, and in those kinds of ways, I definitely see a similarity in personality wise.
That's a huge compliment. So thank you, because again, she's just every role that she's played throughout, her career, it just stands out. Like she really can just command. She has such a commanding presence. And, being someone who loves playing, wild, wacky characters, and also who loves, doing on-camera work as well. The dream is to one day maybe jump on one of the live action series and get to play, an alien that runs in with a ship, or, just to like, I love how in Star Trek, there, especially with a lot of the character actors, they can, you know, look at Jeffrey Combs. He's been in every series. He's played so many different roles. I love the Star Trek, what's the word I'm looking for? I love that they're not afraid to reuse some of the same talent in different ways, and to really let actors shine, especially character actors, to prove that, you know, some people don't even realize it's the same actor, you know? One episode he's an Andorian, one episode he's a Klingon, you know, you're like, oh my gosh.
There's a certain loyalty there that where like if an actor or actress proves themselves, the good people at Star Trek are going to be like, why gamble? We know this person can do it. Let's stick with this person. We like working with them. They make us look good. But yeah, you kind of touched on something that I was really curious about, Bonnie. There's always that dream role that you want. Now, the ship's computer notwithstanding, let's say that's the dream role number one, right? If there were a second thing within the Star Trek universe, whether it's voiceover, whether it's an alien villain in season 2 of Prodigy, what would that role be for you?
Ooh, a dream role? You know, they always say, you know, this is a strange example, but you know how they always say, like, when you go and audition for something, you know, most girls, they're all going out for like the Cinderella role. They want to be the star, the ingenue, the pretty one. For me, I want to be like the evil stepmother, the evil stepsister that like falls down the stairs and like has, you know, 3 lines, but you're going to remember her. Those are the kind of roles that I love. So I would just love to play just something so off the wall, bizarre, you know, but that's so memorable that whenever they return, you know, for like a cameo later or anything, it's just, you get that moment of like, oh, yes, this character, you know, because there's a lot of different characters like that throughout Star Trek that, you know, just started out with like a small, you know, cameo role or 1 episode role that they just kept bringing back because it was such a fun, I don't know, making fun character arcs for these characters that you don't get to actually spend a lot of time with, like with the main bridge cast, if that makes sense.
Cirroc, how cool would it be if Bonnie ends up being like the Jeff Combs of Star Trek voiceover, right? Because they could reuse her, right? So we could see her as like this super creepy, villainous, crazy alien that we've never seen, where she can be as creative as she wants and like create this new type of inflection or method of speaking and things like that, and doing all these cool things. And then in a different episode or a different season, she's then doing like, you know, some princess thing that needs a partner in crime to go beat up some baddies or something.
Oh, of course. Everyone needs a sidekick. I love your idea of my career, and Ryan, your vision is impeccable. I agree with you 100%. I'm gonna put that on my vision board.
Nice.
I don't have one, but when I make one,
I think more importantly is you know, I definitely see a really good product that they're putting out here with this show.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing product. And I don't want to say it in this way, but kind of above the standards that I'm used to for Nickelodeon.
Oh,
if that is,
I mean, Nickelodeon has some amazing shows.
That's okay to say. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen much Nickelodeon, so I don't know.
Yeah, but like I kind of expected a certain level, and this exceeds that by far. So credit to them.
It's the animation.
But no,
you pause it, and every frame is like a piece of art. You could frame any frame, if that makes sense. You know, I would hang so many of these freeze frames on my wall because they're so stunningly gorgeous, and like the vastness of space and what they show. And you know, I think it's gonna spark so much. I don't know why I keep doing this. Like, I have a beard. I'm just like, yes, it's going to spark so much interest in science. But no, I think kids are gonna really latch onto this, and I think it's really upping the stakes of animation as well. Because yes, it is written for kids, but honestly, every age is going to love this. And I think it's a lot darker than what people expected. Not like in an, dark way, but it's a lot, I don't think people realized how much like action there was going to be, how much, heart that these characters have. A lot of people think, oh, it's a kid's show, and they just kind of shrug it off. And then watching the first episode that they've released, it's like unbelievable what they've done.
I thought of it as motion picture quality. It could have easily been a movie that was released in the theaters, and if you took away the name Star Trek from it, it was that the quality level was there, as far as I'm concerned.
Cirroc, I made the same thought. I put that in my notes.
But yeah, I'm just happy to welcome you.
Sorry, we lost you for a second there.
Star Trek family.
Thank you. Coming from you, it is truly an honor. Like, a huge fan of your work and loved
the movie quality.
Your character. What? We just lost him, I think, again.
Oh, that's too bad. Because he paid you such a great compliment, and you paid him back a compliment, and I hope he was able to hear that. But yeah, Cirroc, I made the same. There you are. Yeah, I made the same note that the reason the animation style, I mean, since the beginning when we got the teasers out and the trailers and then the main title sequence, first of all, number one, that theme song in a previous show a couple weeks ago, I did say it's already top 3 Star Trek theme songs for me personally. It's mind-blowingly good.
Unreal. And the composer is unreal. She's incredible. Like the music. Oh,
yeah, so damn good. Absolutely loved it. Blown away. The other part of it, the other aspect is the animation. The animation, it's more so than just the attention to detail, and it's the color. They found this color palette or this color scheme, or I don't really know, the nuances of it, but really blown away by their use of color and their knowledge of color. And what I put in my notes was this is like an animated version of watching a feature film. Like there's certain shots and certain things that they do, and it feels like a feature film, the way they do these shots and the way they deliver these things, but in an animated kids series somehow. Especially like there was this one scene, and we only have a minute left, I'll keep it super brief. There was one scene where the phaser, the ship is shooting their phasers to open up the exit, right? When Dreadnought shoots the thing, everything falls, and they're shooting the laser, and then the ship just emerges, right? Something like that. And it was this beautiful shot, and I was like, that's when it really hit me. I said, I feel like I'm watching feature film quality shots and delivery and music. It's just an animated form. And so, Cirroc, I noticed the same thing. This is not SpongeBob SquareButt or whatever that we're watching. This is legit.
Yeah. And I can't wait for y'all to see what's coming, because, obviously I've had to keep my mouth shut for the past few years, but I mean, Dan and Kevin, the Hageman brothers, they collected a team of writers that are just, you can tell when a writing team loves what they're working on and loves the characters that they're writing for. I can't say too much, but when I say some of these episodes are just going to be like, they're just going to blow you away. I mean, that's all I'm going to say.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I'm trying not to like geek out and tear up about it, because I know some of the character arcs that happen, and it's just so good. Everyone's gonna love this. Keep watching, everyone. Keep watching. I need to yell.
All right. That's okay. You've got a great mic. It didn't crack or anything like that. It sounded great. So we do have to go to our break, and we are going to then talk about this episode through and through for a bit of time but we want to thank you so much, Bonnie Gordan. This has been awesome. We really hope you come back extremely soon. Read Cirroc to sleep. Tell us stories of being on in the studio.
Once upon a time, there was a little boy
named Jake Sisko. There it is.
Yep.
There it is.
He wanted to be a writer.
You're awesome, Bonnie. I wish you so much success on this show. Looks like it's started off on the right foot, and I look forward to seeing you at conventions for the rest of eternity.
I do a lot of Comic-Cons already, and now I'm already planning on jumping on the Trek Con circuit for sure. So I hope to see you there too. I actually am part of a nerd parody band, and we do songs about Star Trek as well. So I'm hoping to sing a little song or two.
That would be nice
on the con circuit as well.
Looking forward to that. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna see her in Vegas next year, Cirroc. I'm
in Vegas. I'm in Vegas next week. If you're watching and listening, if you're in Vegas on November 6th, I'm doing a one-day Comic-Con.
Can you tell everybody where they can follow you on Twitter so that they can get information on that? Yes.
Follow me everywhere at Bonnie Bell G. That's Bonnie Bell G. It's I could spell it for you, but I think you'll figure it out.
You just put the pauses in there. That's all. It's Bonnie Bell G. Bonnie
Bell G.
Bell.
Twitter, Instagram. Exactly. You'll find me, or I'll find you.
Now, Bell with an E.
Nope, just B-E-L-L.
Got it.
Like Tinkerbell.
Easy. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll be right back on the other side of this. Everybody go follow her. Tell her what a wonderful job you bet she's about to do. And then tweet her what a great job she has done when you hear her as the ship's computer. And we'll be right back on The Seventh Rule.
Welcome back to The Seventh Rule with your hosts, Cirroc and Ryan.
Well, what do you know? Wow. That's us. Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Seventh Rule. Guess what? Our good friend Bonnie Bell Gordan has decided to stick around, continue to make us laugh, continue to make us look good, and here she is. Thank you.
Honestly, I can't figure out how to shut this Zoom call down. So you guys close it out. I'm here forever. So it's not. You've just gotten yourself a new host.
I thought she liked us.
No, that's not it, Ryan.
Yeah.
Where's the exit button?
All right. So we're going to talk about this episode a bit more. Now, okay. First thing I have to do, and Bonnie, you're the perfect person that may know this.
Mm-hmm.
I swear I heard the Wilhelm scream in this episode. I don't know if you heard it. I don't know if you know about this at all. Everybody at home, there's this Wilhelm scream. It's been going around for, 50, 80, 100 years. I don't know. It's this thing that it's like the sound effect. It's like, ah, or whatever, right? And it's like in all the Star Wars movies, it's in all these things. And I swear I heard it when Dal is in the little mini ship thing.
The loader. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's going and he says, "Get out of the way." And somebody in the background dies, and you hear, "Ah!" And I'm like, Wilhelm scream. I don't know if you can confirm or deny this.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to go and watch it for like the 20th time.
You do, because
that.
It's not loud. It's not loud, but you can. I swear, your cue is he goes, "Get out of the way," and then listen 1 second after that. Everybody at home, listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost positive, but it sounds like you haven't heard it.
I might have, and I might have blocked it from my memory, so I'm going to go back and listen to it again.
Okay.
Now you said for 100 years this thing has been going on. Is that like,
I don't know.
Is it in old YouTube documentaries and like
I don't know.
The bomb will get down. Out of nowhere.
Since the beginning of time, there has been the scream.
See, I don't know. There's like, and cinephiles will tell you like the exact history of it. I just know that it's a thing and I can recognize it every time I hear it in a movie. And I was shocked, but it was so faint that it's possible it wasn't it. But anyway.
It was first in Casablanca. Right at the "Here's Looking at You, Kid," right after that.
Here's looking at you, kid. Ah! Okay. So, Cirroc, this is our first look at this 2-part episode. There was actually another quick thing. It looked like I saw a Lurian, which was what the alien that Morn is. You know Morn in Deep Space Nine, right?
I wrote that down in my notes. Morn.
Yes.
Morn is in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah. What's so amazing about especially if you're really paying attention to a lot of the miners, they really wanted, it looks like they really wanted to have almost every alien species, really represented in this show, because there's so many that are showcased. And oh, look, there he is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a Morn. Yeah.
That's gotta be him. That's our buddy Morn.
It's gotta be.
Or, is estranged cousin.
Right. This is the Delta Quadrant, right? So who knows? But anyway, you were saying, Bonnie, there are other aliens. With the alien suits, I couldn't really see if there were other aliens we recognized. I mean, there was a Kazon. There was presumably a little kitten Cation, possibly.
A Cation. Oh, it's so, as a cat person, I was like, where do I get one? But I love that they have so many different species represented, and not a human in sight, it looks like, really. But it's cool because, especially when you hear the whole idea of the mining planet is that none of the prisoners can communicate with each other. There are no translators. So I love that, if you're listening closely, you can hear all the different languages because none of them know how to communicate. No one can understand each other. The only person that really understands them is Gwen. She is a translator and she speaks all these different languages. So that's how she's able to speak to Dal. She's able to speak to everyone and translate. So it's really interesting how many languages and like details they put into that.
Wow. Really cool introduction to the show, right, Cirroc? Like, we knew who the characters were going to be. We checked all the little articles and knew all that stuff. It was cool to see a Kazon. It was cool to see all these other aliens. There were a few new things I didn't expect. Like I don't know what they're called. I was calling them the Scorp droids, like the Scorpion kind of guys, but I wanted to call them the Scorps because that's like in the 80s, what people used to call the band, the Scorpions. They'd be like, yeah, let's play some Scorps. So I want to call them the Scorps.
Gotta get out, man. The Scorps are coming. They're gonna find us, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very good start. Yeah, I like the music. I once again, right from the opening scene, I thought the music really set the tone for the whole, show, and it draws you in with the music. It draws you in with the color palette that they have chosen, and the character who's playing Dal, the main captain, quote unquote. I think that voice actor is very good. There were just moments there where I was like, oh wow, this guy is really good, because he was conveying very subtle things in the emotion and the inflections in his voice, fear in moments when he needed fear, confidence in moments of confidence, and like even the way he said, I thought I was going to be captain, the way he had in his voice, it was perfect. It was, I was like, wow, this guy, you can see the youth in his voice. So you know that he's a young guy, which adds to the adventure aspect of it.
He has really neat texture to his voice.
Yeah.
That it's really nice and kind of, it gives it that youthful, mischievous, teenage kid feel. And he comes from a music background as well. He is an incredible singer as well. So
figured.
Yeah.
Cirroc, real quick, I made a note of that exact line. The way he delivered, I thought I was going to be captain. That's why I said that at the top. You know how every once in a while an actor does something in a way that I wouldn't have expected. And so I kind of make a note of it, pause it. I repeat it out in myself. I'm like, see, I would have guessed going this way, but they took in this direction. It was really interesting. And I made a note of that exact line. Now, I did want to point out that during Star Trek Day at the Skirball Center in Sherman Oaks last month, they had some of the cast. They had, part of the crew and the production team there. And I was sitting next to Melissa, and I remember they kind of were asking questions or whatever. And when this gentleman, I don't know his name, you probably do.
Brett Gray.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
So when he first spoke, and they're passing along, and he's like, yes, when or whatever he did. And I was like, whoa. This guy had, and I leaned over to her immediately, was like, this guy has a perfect voice for voiceover. I was just like blown. I mean, we hadn't seen a scene yet, and I already knew this kid is good. You could just tell from the way he spoke into the microphone.
You know who's one of my favorite characters throughout this whole. Well, we've only seen the first episode, but
I thought you were going to name a character that hasn't been introduced
yet. No. I would never do that. Oh dear. No.
You're going to love her. Episode 9.
My favorite character. Yeah. Gosh, her name's Emily. No. Rock Talk, the big old rock monster character played by Riley, who's, I think, well, the character's 8 years old. I think she's maybe 10, or I'm not quite sure how old she is. But when I say that kid has some of the best comedic timing with her line delivery, and like, she's so good. Like every line she delivered, I started following her, and I wrote her a message going, girl, you've got some good timing. Like, just the way she has such control over voice at such a young age too. She puts a lot of emotion in her voice. And she also just has such, fun timing when she can first speak and they can first understand each other. It's just, it's a great moment.
Well, they actually stole that name from, you were gonna say your talk show that you had called Cirroc Talk, right?
Yes, and that was during the Maury Povich days.
We got to credit Dr. Muhammad Noor with that joke. I believe it was him that came up with that during our live show. Sorry, Muhammad, I stole your joke. It's not the last.
It's not the last time you'll steal one.
No, it's gonna happen again.
The funny thing is that when they first revealed the voice behind Rock Talk, I was like, whoa, who is this person? Because it doesn't match what I'm looking at, right? I'm expecting this kind of heavy, deep, solid, like rough around the edges type of voice.
Yeah.
And I got this really soft, sweet sounding voice. Which they made fun of in the episode, right? He says, "Oh, I didn't think you would sound like," and she's like, "What?
What? Yeah." And when he said, I think he says something like it's some kind of translator, and she goes, "Yeah, I know. I'm big, not dumb." Like, just like her delivery is so freaking cute. Oh, she's so good. I love that kid. Whenever I meet her in person, I'm giving her a big hug and be like, don't worry, I'm not a stranger. Maybe not.
No, I could do the
danger.
You live inside of me. Love me.
Now, what's Murph's voiceover?
Oh man,
I guess
voiced by a legend in voiceover, which I think is hysterical because you get this incredible voice actor, and it's a lot of like, like just gurgles, and I love it though. It's so Murph is the cutest character. I mean, obviously, Murph is what I want on a pillow, and
a Murph-shaped pillow.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant.
How would that?
Yeah, just like a little Murph, cuddle a little Murph.
Patent pending.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be lots of Murph merchandise.
There'll be a lot of Murph.
We'll call it Murphandise. Hey,
there it is.
A+.
We should start our own marketing team, you guys. I think we have something going here.
Merchandise.
A+.
Good.
we're also introduced to, what's his name? Jenkum Pog. Is that it?
Jacob Pog. Yes, Jacob
Now
Pog.
that is exciting for a big nerd like myself, because that is an alien that I know, which is Tellarite.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things where, we always want these aliens to have bigger roles, and it seems like that we're finally going to have a lead character be a Tellarite, and that's going to be really exciting for me. Cirroc, I don't think, have you seen a Tellarite before?
No, I haven't seen a Tellarite. I did a little research about how they like to communicate angrily and argue.
Yeah.
Very gruff. Very. Yeah.
Which made me think, is O'Brien a Tellarite? Because
hey, zip, zing.
Oh no! Poor Chief O'Brien. He's the butt of everybody's jokes.
Yeah. Good.
But no, I think they found a good character for that. I mean, especially for the ship's engineer. I like him for that role.
Mm-hmm.
The Tellarite. Yeah.
That's perfect. Mm-hmm.
It's perfect.
I'm really excited to that kids are seeing a character like Zero, because they mention that Zero, who is Medusan, is non-corporeal, obviously,
right.
but also has no gender, so it very much like non-binary in a way.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's a great way to show representation for children, and also introducing like new kinds of species. And we've seen Medusans before in the past, but we obviously have not gotten to really know their lore and their history, and who they are as a species. So I'm very excited to see more of Zero as well. And I love the voice actor for that role too. He has such a, like, their voice is so what's the word I'm looking for?
Androgynous?
Colorful. Yes, that, and also very colorful in a way where yeah, I don't know. Their voice, it's just likable. Like, it's a soothing voice.
Pleasant, yeah.
Yeah, it's pleasant to listen to. Anytime they talk, with that slight accent as well, I'm like, yes, that's nice. It's just a nice, soothing.
For Americans, we do love the British accent. We hear that, we're like, you can say whatever you want, we'll like it. But I think that's the introduction of the Zero character for children. For adults, whatever, we can, we watch everything. But for kids, there are two main things I think that is, and Cirroc, you can speak on this because you have a kid. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't have kids. I don't even really like kids, to be honest.
I have a
but
cat.
I love,
So
yeah, cats. Give me a million cats. But here's the thing is, number one is it gives them a different way. It expands their mind of a different way of seeing beings, right? That this is non-corporeal, right? Number one, that's the first mind expansion, right? The second mind expansion is, I don't think they said it yet in this first episode, but I'm assuming at some point they're going to say they and them and their, right? And it's going to get children to begin to kind of expand their mind into, okay, so there are things that could be non-corporeal. Okay, there are things that can be that can be not, it just kind of stretches their mind at a young age to where they start getting used to other possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I know I have so many friends that are, non-binary and go by they, them. And the fact that we're getting that kind of representation, for children to understand that there are different types of pronouns and different ways people can express themselves and, be themselves, I feel is really important. And I love that Nickelodeon, I feel, has always been very forward with some of the shows that they put out that show different types of relationships and different, Korra and, The Last Airbender and all that. Those were shows that had a really nice representation of different types of relationships and things like that. So I feel like Nickelodeon really is pushes the envelope when it comes to things like that. And so I'm really happy that they included a character like Zero. I think it's important for kids. Yeah, especially in Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek always has been the one to kind of push the envelope in television and the tropes in television. I mean, if you go back and watch old episodes, yes, there are problems, you know, when it comes to, you know, misogyny and all that other random stuff that we still have problems with today. But I mean, they were really trying to push the future of television and typical roles that you would see. So go Star Trek. Good job.
Yeah, what I think works well too is I like the telepathy aspect and the way they used the telepathy. There was like when Dal was separate from Zero. Zero was like, yeah, I think he wants me to do this, but I think it's a bad idea, so I'm just ignoring him. I thought that was hilarious, right?
But then the message gets through anyway to the other characters. Was a very smart way to do that.
Good writing. And because of that, I believe that character will also be able to have a connection with all of the other characters in a deeper type of way that is going to allow for just more kind of digging deeper under the surface and finding out more about each other. So I do like this character.
I'm excited to see the dynamic of all of the characters and the relationships that form. And, you know, right now within the first episode, they're all just meeting each other, you know, and they don't know each other. They don't trust each other. You know, it's so interesting to see how different they all are and the backgrounds that they all come from and their different objectives and whatnot, to where now we're going to, you know, get to see them grow and learn together and kind of form those type of relationships that an actual crew make.
You know,
and it's funny. Oh,
no, please.
No, I was going to say that even though it's animated, you still get the sense of certain things that are unwritten. And the thing that I got a sense of was this kind of feelings that Gwen has for Dal or vice versa, right? It was kind of suggestive, at least in my opinion. That's what I took away from it. It wasn't overtly talked about, but there were clues, like, you know, she seemed to know him all too well, right? She was like, oh, I know what he's going to do. I know what I can get it out of him without torture. So there was a level of familiarity, comfortness that I think is going to be expanded upon as we watch this show unfold.
You know, a lot of that is also, you know, Gwen is basically the daughter of, you know, the villain.
Yeah.
As you can, I mean, that you can get that from the first episode, of course. But it does show that she does have a heart and that she does care for people. And not, just like how she, you know, takes the Cation under her wing because the Cation's so young and she doesn't want to see it being put to work, you know, in the mines, things like that. And, you know, the one line that she says to Dal when she finds out, you know, that he was lying to her about knowing Fugitive Zero was that she said specifically, like, I tried to protect you. You know, basically, like, she was trying to make sure he wasn't going to get hurt, and now it's too late. She can't, you know, she can't protect him anymore, and he kind of dug his own grave in that sense.
But we had the right idea to kidnap her. That's a saving grace right there.
Yeah,
very smart idea.
I love the bit where he's doing his face trying to, you know, to send a telepathic message to Zero. And Zero's like, it's a horrible idea.
Yeah. But I love that. I was
Yeah.
just going to say, I think that's going to be something they're going to continue to use in subsequent episodes. And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is good. We like this. So now as an audience, we're going to see when he's doing his face things, that's our hint that, oh, something's about to happen. He's passing along a message. But you were saying,
he's
Cirroc?
communicating.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another special moment that I thought was really well done in this episode was the moment when they finally escape and they're in the stars, and Dal tells Gwen, "You wanted to see the stars. Take a look
Yes.
for yourself." And the
Mhm.
her registering that with that close up on her eyes, I thought was a classy moment
Mhm.
for the show.
Well, she says, when he's being brought to the surface and being put to the work that, ultimately no one ever returns from. She when she's talking to him, she does say, if it makes you feel any better, like I'm never leaving this place either. So, in her own way, she's also a prisoner to this
Oh
place,
yeah.
Mhm.
and and can't leave either. So it's obviously she's not going with by her own free will, but you can
Mhm.
see with the way they animate like her eyes seeing the stars for the first time, that awe moment of looking at the expanse of space, and her seeing it for the first time, even though she's tied up to a chair, and obviously they just came from a life and death moment. It's that moment of complete awe and wonder that they put into her eyes, which I really loved.
And I just wanted to add that moment was another thing for me that really showed off the animation
Mhm.
quality, because that is, look, you can write it well, you can deliver it well, but her reaction was all visual, right?
Mhm.
And it's very hard to convey an emotion, or for a drawing to emote and give us an emotion. And that was, I agree, Cirroc, that was a moment that I saw that and I was like, wow, the quality in this show is going to be top notch, because I'm watching a girl's expression in her eyes and it's emoting to me. And
Mhm.
that's, I mean,
Mhm.
usually we see that a little bit in cartoons when, they see the, whoa, big old eyes and I can't believe, but this was like a different kind of emotion that
Mhm.
it's hard to convey, and they definitely did it. I
Yeah.
think we're
It's
going to
so
be saying
detailed.
this every single episode, or at least I am. I'm going to be constantly
Probably.
saying like, the animation, the music is so good, the acting is so good. But I mean, anyway, there'll be plenty of time for me to blather on about how great the animation is and the color. But maybe I need to
Mhm.
watch more cartoons. But I was just like, wow, this is better than the stuff I used to watch when I was a kid, except for He-Man.
Yeah, it's
Except
a
for
lot
He-Man. Let's
better
not
than the
get
stuff I
crazy.
used to watch, and a lot. Oh, Transformers, right? No, really good writing. I just, like I said, I felt like I was watching a motion picture. The the chemistry kind of starts off really well because I don't know any of these characters right away, so I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, who's this, who's that? But then within a very short amount of time, I feel myself kind of like, okay, I know what's happening here. Yeah, that's the rock talk guy. That's
Mhm.
the gelatin looking thing, and I
Yeah.
start to get familiar really quickly. And the other thing I want to say is just like the chemistry there between, once again, between this Gwen character and Dal. I think that, you know, there is really good chemistry there.
Mhm.
I think there was a moment when he says, yeah, don't say it. I see it in your eyes. You're welcome. And she's like, tied up in the chair, like not
Yeah.
happy about what's going on. And I love his confidence. I just like this kid and his confidence. I think he's going to be carrying this show. He seems like he's special, and he's got the animation to back up the delivery of
Mhm.
the performances. So it's going to be this show's going to be really good.
And I love that we don't know what his species is. He's someone
Yeah.
that's completely new to us. We don't know
Mhm.
his history. We don't know the lore of what his, race is. And I love that we get to kind of discover that with him, hopefully. Maybe we see him so confident and, arrogant, but I think it's a mask to hide his insecurities and his feeling of not belonging anywhere, to where you know, he's always like, well, I'm the captain, I do this, I do, it's me, 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 I'm gonna escape. And he's not really thinking about others per se. And I feel like it's because he's always been alone and hasn't had a family or someone to rely on. So I feel like, now that he has this misfit crew, it's going to be really interesting to see how he grows as a person, I think.
Excellent point. That is going to be his first family.
Mhm.
And having a family for the first time, he and the others are probably going to feel and experience things that they've never felt or experienced before. And they're going to have some serious growth there, caring about each other and doing things that they normally wouldn't do, selfless acts and such. I hadn't thought of that. That's really good. We do have to run, figuratively, of course. I'm
not much of a runner.
Yeah, I'm going to sit in this chair. I'm not going anywhere. But we do have to go. And Bonnie, thank you so much. We do hope that you come back sometime, someday, some way, and every single episode and day after that.
Sure. Again, I don't know how to end this Zoom, so
we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back next week, and she's still gonna be here. Like, somebody let me out of this thing.
This link that you sent me, it won't turn off. Like,
yeah, you gotta actually. Jeff Combs is here from 3 months ago. Come on back, Jeff. Go bring him out. Bring him out. No, but really, it's been great. We do appreciate you, and thank you very much. You're welcome back anytime.
Oh, please. Thank you. Yes, I'd love to. This is so much fun for me. I'm literally just geeking out with a bunch of nerds, and I'm like, my people. So anytime, I'd love to just come and talk about Star Trek. That's easy.
That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a tough job, Cirroc, but we got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it.
Talk about
somebody's got to do it.
Mm.
Yeah. You got to do it.
Well done. Well done.
I look forward to seeing more of you, Bonnie. I'm as the show goes on, I will be listening out for you.
Thank you.
To hear the magic. And like I said, I wish you all the best and success. These animated shows are hitting the ground pretty fast, in my opinion, and are setting a new bar, especially for animation, but just in general, for Star Trek in general. They are breaking ground in the idea of what we've conceived Star Trek to be. And I think more of the ground is being broken in the animated world than in the live action stuff.
I agree.
Yeah. Great points. Yeah. Okay. So let's leave it at that. Man, I want to talk about that a lot more. So we'll have to do that another time. But that's
okay.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
I'll still be here on the Zoom link next week. So
like I can't.
All right.
Someone turn off the meeting.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks very much. Everybody at home, go check out Bonnie. She's tons of fun, tons of laughs, and super talented. So her tweets are probably also equally entertaining. Pressure's on.
Wow. Oh man. Oh God, gotta up my comedy chops now.
Yeah. So everybody at home, check out Prodigy, check out Bonnie, and we'll see you soon. Until then, thank you very much. And always remember the 7th rule.